Welcome back to our humble little survival base. Right above this renovated stronghold is some beautiful terrain where ocean meets mushroom meets glacier. Today, I'm gonna build a grand entrance to that stronghold in this open ocean. That entrance will be a recreation of the end pillars made with overworld materials. In the very center will be a giant cherry tree that is actually an elevator that takes me to my storage room. The surrounding pillars will double as a creeper farm so I can have a steady supply of rockets. If you're here just to see some building, you can skip to this time in the video. That's when the first blocks get placed. For the rest of us, we have some resources to collect. The first resource on our list isn't technically necessary, but I wanted to knock it out today. I beat the enderdragon at the start of this video. Now it's time to reap the benefits. It had been a while since I'd been in an end city. In my last survival world, I collected several stacks of shulker shells all in one go and just lived off that supply. This trip reminded me of how great this structure really is. It's genuinely a challenging task even if you've got high quality gear. And the rewards scale to that difficulty, being better than any other structure in the game, good enough to make every player want to come here. I think end cities and shipwrecks are up there as the best structures in Minecraft in terms of the gameplay experience that they provide. On this first trip, I only grabbed 2 elytra and enough shells for about a dozen shulker boxes. In between episodes, I will definitely be making more trips because I use shulker boxes constantly, sometimes even as a building block. Now let's collect some of the blocks we'll be using in the build itself. If you've ever seen a creeper farm, you know they require roughly 1 million trapdoors. Spruce is the easiest wood to collect, so those are the trapdoors I'll be using. While I was in the area, I grabbed some mossy cobblestone. That's one of the main blocks that I want to use in the end pillars. Up next, we have cherry logs and cherry leaves. I collected the leaves of a few trees and the logs of several. I went underground to find some moss blocks. An iron hoe is all you need to instant mine moss, so it hardly took any time at all. I wanted to use a little concrete in the build, so I picked up some sand and gravel as well. I ended up mining a bunch of sand because I know I'm gonna need it later on. If you skipped to this part of the video, welcome back. It's time to put our work to good use. I want to start with the cherry tree in the very center. This tree will basically act as the front door to the stronghold base. I chose a cherry tree as an homage to the starter base I built in my last survival world. That base was surrounded by a custom cherry forest, built before cherry trees were added to Minecraft. This tree really proved to me how far I've come as a builder. When I built the small cherry trees as part of the old base, they were genuinely the best I could do. Custom trees and realistic building in general had always been weak points of mine. It wasn't until recently that everything clicked, and I was finally able to build what I had been picturing. I love that after about a decade of playing Minecraft, I still see myself growing with every project. My tree building strategy goes like this. I start by building the trunk, doing my best to make sure that it's not perfectly straight. Then I lay out the main branches using logs. Off of those main branches, I'll build smaller ones out of fences. It doesn't really matter what kind of fences I use, because none of them will be visible in the final product. The fences are basically like guiding lines that show me where to place the leaves, which has always been the hardest part of tree building for me. The reason I love this strategy is because it results in a very airy tree. When looking at it from above, there are some areas where you can see all the way through to the ground. When you look from below, you can see so many of the main branches through the leaves. All in all, I'm really proud of how this one turned out. On to the end pillars. I want to do a gradient going from green to light gray. I I thought it would be cool to use blocks that are found naturally in a Minecraft world, although I did cheat a little bit and use green concrete at the bottom. Like the cherry tree, these pillars are also an homage to a former build. Specifically, the first build I ever posted online, the End Transformation Project. The only videos I have are in the form of old TikToks. I transformed the end using overworld materials, and I covered the pillars in cracked stone bricks and cobblestone. It really was the build that started it all, and I love that I'll be reminded of it every time I see my base. I lit fires under each of the end crystals, which should help it look a bit more accurate and also spawn-proof the top of each pillar. Like I mentioned at the top of this video, this build is more than just a decoration. We need to turn these pillars into a functioning creeper farm. Usually, when I build a creeper farm, I do so with the help of redstone-controlled water streams. It's one of the best ways to get more gunpowder out of a creeper farm. With that said, this time around, I'm going to rely entirely on trapdoors and kill the creepers with campfires. This is a relatively primitive method that has been outdated for a while. It's reserved mostly for skyblock worlds. I chose this method because down the line, I'm gonna want to make a massive, highly efficient creeper farm with its own massive decoration. As of right now, I just don't have the resources I'd need to execute that kind of project. But I still need gunpowder in the short term to craft rockets. So, by building this relatively slow creeper farm first, I protect the existence of that future project. This farm will produce enough gunpowder to make rockets, but not quite enough to make TNT. This way, I can justify spending a bunch of time and resources on a shiny new creeper farm later. A happy accident that came from this build was the perfect AFK spot being right on top of the cherry tree. Now, even with all of the blocks in their right places, the work still isn't over. In order for this farm to produce the optimal amount of creepers, I'm gonna need to remove all of the dark spots within a 128 block radius. The surrounding terrain does give me a huge head start. Monsters can't spawn in mushroom biomes or on water blocks, so a lot of the could-be spawning spaces have been taken care of. But there are still many dark caves below, and every monster that spawns down here is a creeper that could have spawned in my mob farm. I will periodically go caving in this area while being pretty heavy-handed with my torches. The more areas I light up, the more gunpowder will start rolling into the storage system. By the way, this is the storage system. Just putting a barrel at the base of each pillar. It's rudimentary, but that's kind of the point of this whole build, right? In fact, that's kind of the theme of this entire project, meaning the stronghold renovation. As I renovate more rooms, each one will come with some kind of purpose, some kind of automated redstone gadget. The goal for each contraption will be to make it barely automated. The machine will make my life easier, it will speed up a chore or provide a resource, but it will never completely remove the need for a future, large-scale project. In short, it's a place to build things that are good enough for now, but will need better versions later. I think that will make for a very interesting build to look back on once we've moved out of this humble little base. Anyway, that's all we're getting done in this video. I really appreciate you for watching to the end. This whole build was basically a symbol of my improvement as a player over the past few years. I, in large part, have my viewers to thank for that. Something changed when I started sharing my builds online. I started growing as a builder faster than before. I put more consideration into my builds and overall rediscovered my love for Minecraft. Thank you for watching, and I promise to always give you my best.